What's up, y'all? This is Roz and Ice in Cleveland at the Final Four, and what a thriller we just witnessed as Iowa overcomes a 12-point deficit to defeat UConn and advance to the championship 71-69. All right, let's go straight to the drama at the end of the game.
Madness.
Somehow, UConn and their 6 players, they absorbed the blow and the push from Iowa, and with 9.8 seconds left, they force a turnover. They've got the ball. They're down 1. And they get called with an offensive foul, a charge on Aaliyah Edwards. What do you make of the call, Ice?
It was the toughest call I've seen made. I mean, I thought Aaliyah Edwards was set. I thought her hands were within her body positioning. I thought it was a solid screen, especially for that to be called with the seconds winding down on the clock and an off-ball screen. I felt like that was honestly brutal. Brutal is the word that comes to mind that can only describe that.
For all of us who love basketball, that call happening away from the ball, like you think about everything that UConn's team has overcome, a short roster. They went down in the second half, and in that fourth quarter, they fought back. You got Paige Beckers fighting, coming back from injuries, all the drama of it. And for it to be decided right there on a charge, on a logistical type of call.
Yes.
Ugh, you ache for UConn. You ache
want
for
the
them.
players to decide the game.
Exactly.
And it felt like we walked away and the referees decided the game.
Now, it wasn't necessarily Caitlyn Clarks' prettiest game. I mean, she still filled the stat sheet with 21 points, 9 rebounds, 7 assists. But how important were her teammates, especially your girl, Hannah Staley, who pulled up with 23 points?
Listen, I played as a guard, but I'm more a fan of post players these days. I think it's because of Hannah Staley. I just thought she was terrific. She was dominant inside. She ran the floor. She scored, and against a tough matchup in Aaliyah Edwards, one of the best post players we have seen in college basketball recently. But I thought Hannah, as a sophomore, looked like a super sophomore. She looked so mature, so confident. I got a chance to listen to Caitlyn post-game, and she said that Hannah was the difference maker today, and I think that's a perfect way to describe the performance she gave us.
So Iowa advances to the championship game for the second season in a row. This time they'll see South Carolina. And look, NC State, they were supposed to be the party crashers, and they were for most of this tournament. But South Carolina kicked them out.
Yep.
And a lot of it happened in the second half. At halftime, South Carolina was up 1 point. And by the end of the third quarter, they were up 24. So what do you make of the explosion at a halftime from SC?
Explosion is the perfect word. They outscored NC State in the third quarter 29-6. So they held them with their defense. They were tough on that side of the basketball. And then offensively, the explosion inside. Man, a credit to Camila Cardoso. Killer Cam. I thought she was terrific inside. 22 points, 11 rebounds. She played fearless in the paint. And then Ashlyn Watkins, how about 20 rebounds off the bench as well? I just thought they were tremendous inside, and that's an anchored team known to be a Dawn Staley DNA team. That's what their calling card is.
I'm glad you bring up Dawn Staley, because this was supposed to be a rebuilding year. And this season's team ends up doing something that last season's team didn't. They get to the championship game, and they're still undefeated. You know, if you look at the record of Dawn Staley over the last 3 years, it's 109-3. Can we just give some proper flowers to the coaching job of Dawn Staley, please?
Oh, terrific, terrific. I mean, this is history that we're witnessing with Dawn Staley. The way in which she's rebuilt this team, the way in which she's brought freshmen that are ready to play right away, and then the way that she's grown every other player's game. Raven Johnson came back with a 3-point jump shot. Camila Cardoso has more moves in the paint than she had before. Dawn, just one of the best, honestly.
The development. I had the chance to cover and do the game broadcast with Westwood One Sports and have a conversation with Dawn Staley, who pointed out to me at the beginning of the season, it was challenging.
Yeah.
These are players who are young or new to the program, perhaps hadn't been in leadership positions, didn't know things like what the standard was, perhaps showing up on time to class or going to breakfast, even if it wasn't mandatory, or coming into the season in shape. Her job early on and throughout the season was to develop good habits, develop their identity and culture as a team. So much of that leans on Dawn, and it trickles and permeates the rest of this roster and team.
Absolutely.
So South Carolina, you've heard the players say it. This is their revenge season. This time last year, they were knocked out in the Final Four by Iowa. Now, in the championship game, they get a chance at sweet revenge as they take on Iowa in the championship game.